Hello guys, welcome to online MBBS, and today we are gonna learn about anatomy of ear. So let's know the introduction about the ear. Ear, it is one of the 5 sense organ of our body. It has 2 major functions, that is balance and hearing. It consists of 3 main parts. They are external ear, the middle ear, also known as middle ear cleft, and the inner ear, also known as the labyrinth. And the parts of ear: in the outer ear, you can see here the orange color denotes the outer ear, pink middle ear, and the blue color denotes the inner ear. So in the outer ear comes the auricle and the external auditory canal. And tympanic member, you can see here tympanic member. In many of the books you can find tympanic membrane also comes under the external ear or the outer ear, and whereas in some you will find it it comes under the middle ear. So but in this picture you can see here it is neither in the outer ear nor in the middle ear, so it's between the outer and middle ear. It separates the outer ear and the middle ear. And in the middle ear comes the 3 ossicles, that are malleus, incus, and stapes, which is also the smallest bone in our body. And in the inner ear comes the scala vestibuli, the cochlea, organ of Corti. They comes under the inner ear. Okay, the external ear. What structures comes under the external ear? They are: number 1 is auricle, also known as pinna. So pinna is also called auricle or external ear. It is a flap-like organ on either side of the head, made of cartilage and skin and shaped like a funnel. It collects and directs sounds into the ear canal. And the number 2 structure is external acoustic or auditory canal. Auditory canal is a tunnel or passageway that begins at the external ear and extends inward toward the eardrum. It is a long tube lined with hairs. It directs sounds to the eardrum, which is also known as the tympanic membrane. And the third structures under the external ear comes the tympanic membrane, also known as drum head or eardrum. Okay, let's learn about the functions. It forms the partition between the external acoustic canal and the middle ear. It is 9 to 10 mm tall, 8 to 9 mm wide, and 0.1 mm thick. It can be divided into 2 parts. They are pars tensa and pars flaccida, also known as Shrapnel's membrane. Tympanic membrane consists of 3 layers. They are outer epithelial layer, middle fibrous layer, and inner mucosal layer. So you can see here in the picture helix. Helix is this part is known as helix, whereas right opposite to this is known as antihelix. This part is known as antihelix. And you can see here this part. You can see here this part tragus, and opposite to this is known as antitragus. And this one is known as concha or concha, and this is the external auditory meatus. So this is helix, this is antihelix, this is tragus, whereas this is antitragus. So muscles of the pinna or auricle. So what muscles are? You can learn in an easy way, that is there are 3 auricular muscles. There is one is anterior auricular muscle, and then posterior auricular muscle, and the third one is superior auricular muscle. And 2 helicis muscle, that is helicis minor muscle and helicis major muscle. And one is tragus muscle and one is antitragus muscle. So altogether 7 muscles. Now comes the nerve supply of pinna. It is supplied by the auricular branch of cranial nerve 10. Auricular branch of cranial nerve 10 and by greater auricular nerve and greater branch of lesser occipital nerve, temporal nerve, and posterior auricular branch of cranial number 7. Innervations of pinna. Motor supply is by cranial nerve number 7, whereas sensory supply is by greater auricular nerves, that is C2, C3 branches of spinal nerve, supplies most of the medial surface and posterior part of the lateral surface, whereas lesser occipital nerve C2 supplies upper part of medial side. Auriculotemporal V3, a branch of mandibular nerve, which is the largest division of trigeminal nerve, supplies the upper part of lateral side, tragus, cross of helix, adjacent part of helix. And the auricular branch of facial nerve supplies anterior auricular muscle and superior and posterior, that is temporal and posterior auricular branch, skin and concha auricular branch of vagus. Blood supply of pinna are anterior auricular artery and vein, superficial temporal artery and vein, and posterior auricular artery and vein, and occipital artery. External auditory canal. It is the channel for conduction of sound from exterior to the tympanic membrane. This passage extends from the auricle to the tympanic membrane. It is about 24 mm long in adults. It consists of two parts. In children, this external auditory canal is shorter in length. Therefore, children has a higher chance of getting ear infections as the canal is shorter in length. So it consists of two parts, that is outer 1/3 is cartilaginous, that is 8 mm, whereas inner 2/3 is bony, 16 mm. Directions of the external auditory meatus. Outer part is upwards, backwards and medially, whereas inner part is downward, forward and medially. Nerve supply. Nerve supply is anterior half is by auriculotemporal nerve, whereas posterior branch is by auricular branch of vagus nerve. The blood supply is by outer part is by auriculotemporal branch of temporal artery, whereas inner part is by posterior auricular division of external carotid artery. And the clinical significance is to see tympanic membrane, pinna is pulled upward, backward and laterally. Okay. External auditory canal relations. Superiorly there is middle cranial fossa, whereas inferiorly there is parotid gland. Anteriorly temporomandibular joints, whereas posteriorly there is mastoid, air cells and antrum. Now comes the middle ear. The middle ear consists of the three ossicles. They are malleus, incus and stapes. Malleus is also known as hammer, incus also known as anvil, and stapes also known as stirrup. And these names are according to their shape. Okay, this is like hammer shaped, whereas this is like incus shaped. Incus is a tool mainly used to transform some metal. Some metals are kept on the incus like a anvil shaped tool, and they are changed from one shape to another. Whereas this stirrup shape, you can see the ring like shape is known as stirrup. And stapes is the smallest bone in our human body. Okay, structures of middle ear. They are ossicles made of three small bones, which is the hammer, also known as malleus, anvil, incus and stirrup stapes. It intensifies the vibration of the sound waves by 22 times before transmitting to the oval window. And the Eustachian tube, a narrow tube that joins the middle ear to the throat, that balances the air pressure at both sides of the eardrum. Now comes the oval window. An oval window is an oval shaped thin membrane between the middle ear and the inner ear. It transmits sound vibrations from the middle ear to the inner ear. Blood supply of the middle ear supplied by 6 arteries. There are 2 main arteries are anterior tympanic branch of maxillary artery, which supply the tympanic membrane, and the next one is stylomastoid branch of posterior auricular artery, supplies middle ear and mastoid ear cells. And the 4 minor arteries are petrosal branch of middle meningeal artery, superior tympanic branch of middle meningeal artery, transversing along the canal for tensor tympanic muscle, and the third one is branch of artery of pterygoid canal that runs along the eustachian tube, and the fourth one is tympanic branch of internal carotid. Bones and muscles of middle ear. You can see here malleus. This one is malleus. Malleus ligament. This one is malleus ligament, and incus. This one is incus. Fourth one, the incus ligament. The incus ligament is here, and the steps muscle. The steps muscle is here. It is the also known as stapedius muscle. It is the smallest muscle in our body. And step foot plate is this one. Eardrum, this one. Eustachian tube, this one. Malleus muscle. The number 9, this one is malleus muscle, and 10 nerve, that is coda tympanic. This one is coda tympanic nerve. Middle ear cleft. It is the part of temporal bone situated behind the ear. It is having 3 parts, that is adytus and antrum, mastoid antrum, and mastoid ear cells. You can see here in this picture attic, adytus, and antrum. Adytus and antrum, the opening through which attic communicates with antrum. Whereas mastoid antrum this is the permanent and relatively large ear cell in the mastoid and lies just behind the posterior bony canal wall. Now comes the internal ear. In the internal ear, we can see here the internal ear or the labyrinth is an important organ of hearing and balance. It consists of bony labyrinth and a membranous labyrinth. Due to this, it is also known as labyrinth. The membranous labyrinth is filled with a clear fluid called endolymph, while the space between the membranous and bony labyrinth is filled with perilymph. Now comes the bony labyrinth. Under the bony labyrinth comes the cochlea. Cochlea, which is in bony labyrinth, is a system of coiled tubes, a snail-like structure in the inner ear filled with fluid called perilymph and endolymph. It consists of 3 canals or 3 tubes. They are scala vestibuli, also known as vestibular canal, scala media, also known as cochlear canal, and scala tympani, known as tympanic canal. An organ of Corti, electromechanically sensitive hair cells. The second one is round window, absorbs energy and equalizes pressure. Third one is auditory nerve. It carries the impulse to the brain, which then interprets the impulse as sound. And the fourth one is semicircular canal and vestibule for body balance. The inner ear consists of the vestibular system and the vestibule system and the cochlear system. Okay, later it will come. We will learn about that. Now comes the membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth consists of cochlear duct, semicircular ducts, utricle and saccule, and endolymphatic duct with its sac. Blood supply. The inner ear is supplied by the anterior tympanic branch of the maxillary artery, a stylomastoid branch of the posterior auricular artery, petrosal branch of middle meningeal artery, and the labyrinthine artery, arising from either the anterior inferior cerebellar artery or the basilar artery. Nerve supply. Okay, here what I was talking about is here. Okay. Nerve supply. Ampullary, utricle, and saccular nerve joins to form vestibular nerve. Cochlear nerve and vestibular nerve joins to form the eighth cranial nerve, also known as vestibulocochlear nerve. So the vestibular cochlear nerve. The vestibular system controls balance. The vestibular system controls balance, whereas cochlear system controls the hearing in the internal ear. So you can see vestibular system controls balance, whereas cochlear system controls the hearing. Interesting facts to know. The smallest bone in human body is stapes. The smallest muscle in human body is stapedius, measuring a length of about 1.27 mm. It differs according to the people. The only organ in human body to develop from all three germinal layers is tympanic membrane. This is a very important question. It's also asked in the license examination of India, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh. And the normal color of tympanic membrane is pearly gray color. Okay guys, thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay alive. If you like the video, please like it and please subscribe the channel. Thank you. See you in the next video.